Radical. I saw a lot of emotions and a lot of incredible games in this incredible building in the Purple Palace. I saw a lot of stuff, including Jimmy Valvano cutting down the nets, that '83 championship team, and well, the McRae boys, that championship team. Jason Kidd's last game in here, high college. Damian Lillard's heartbreak in that incredible Anthony Johnson game. Saw some joyous, incredible, some sad, up, down, but never had a vibe like I had in there last night. And I've been to 2 funerals this week. And very heartbreaking funerals, people that I really cared about. It wasn't like that in there last night. So I want to set this to players, to Weber State players and coaches. What, you going to give up now? You're going to give up now? This has always been a David versus Goliath story here. This is Big Sky basketball. This is Weber State. You thought you were Goliath. You're not Goliath. You're David. So you're going to give up. Who gives a shit in January? So what? You fucking lost. So what? Suck it up, as my dad used to say, the legendary coach who did nothing but win. He'd say, I don't give a shit about your trophies and your championships. I want to see sportsmanship. You win a sportsmanship award, us fans, and we're supposed to be rowdy. We're supposed to. It's Big Sky basketball, and the referees suck. But you win with dignity, you lose with dignity. You know, so what? It's January basketball. And my dad used to say, Kevin, shut the fuck up and get to work. You're way too pretty for an opinion. What a coach. I look back at him, and I look back when I played when I was a kid and younger, and I go back to the great Salvo, who played on the only championship teams in the history of this state. You know, the University of Utah, clear back and forth, Watmasaka, Arnie Farron from here. He hated high school coaches. He hated you, and he would assemble. So people don't realize I coached for a long time, way back in the day. And I would always take players who got cut. I remember I took all the players that got cut from Locust Junior High in the day, and I assembled them. I was an AAU coach, and we had 2 seasons in a row where we went undefeated, including my own nephew, who's a coach now, but whose son was the defensive player of the year. You overcome. You overcome. Coaching, it matters, but coaches, it's about players. I go back to here in '95 when we won. And I voted for Jimmy DeGraffenby to be the coach. I still say that, but I'm not giving up on these coaches. I'm not giving up on these. And it's not the journey. It's not if you win or lose. It's how you play the game. I mean, if you can't understand that, Damian Lillard never played in an NCAA tournament. Damian Lillard lost 3 games in conference play in 2 years. Never played in NCAA. This is the flaw with the Big Sky, and I want you players to hear this and understand this. This is about the path. This is about the journey. This is about development of people as your life goes forward. Your entire future depends on how you play the game here. Players are in Europe, your economic well-being. You know how many you got the scouts all over you. They've been watching you. You know how many players on this team they're going to play in professional? A bunch of them. No doubt in my mind. And I know. Nobody knows like I know. So when they switched the Big Sky, the NCAA tournament changed this whole dynamic, and they says we're conferences out of pure greed, started doing conference tournaments. They were laughed at first. It was just another way for big conferences to get another team in, a.k.a. Jimmy Valvano. I mean, they won the conference tournament. They were what place that year? So that's all it was. It was another power snatch by a major university against small ones. Big Sky basketball used to be a powerhouse. Big Sky basketball hasn't done anything. I mean, you're talking 25 years since they won a conference, won an NCAA tournament game. Harold Arsenault of the show, and I want you players to understand this and to get this. In that game against North Carolina, Harold Arsenault of the show had 36 points. How many did Weber score? He scored like 60% of them all, but he had a coach and he had a point guard that could see they had a hot hand. Feed the hot hand. He did the same thing against Florida. I will quote told him the other night in there. He said, what a run, this great run. Big Sky Basketball made this run. We beat North Carolina. We should have beat Florida, whatever. We're still waiting for the next team to make a run. Still waiting. Still waiting. So it's not how you play in January. It's how you play in March. And understand this. When they switched this to conference tournament, at first, so this, people don't realize this palace, Purple Palace, was full of multi-millionaires. Sophisticated, smart, old fans. A lot of them died. Well, Dean Hurst just passed away at 90. There's still 90-something-year-old sophisticated, wealthy fans in here. There's still a few, but they lost their fan base. And I will never forget this. When they says Big Sky's going to do a conference tournament, people here were pissed. They're like, why? Why are we even having a regular season? What's the point? If you're going to do this conference tournament and you got to win the tournament to go, then fuck the regular. Why even have one? Because understand this, in a conference like this, you're getting one team in, period. You could go undefeated in this in the country, and you're going to get one team in. No respect, well, they haven't earned any respect, the Big Sky. When you haven't won a conference NCAA tournament game since 1999, I take it back. Larry won one in 2007. They're Montana. He was a great coach. Great player. So, here's the thing. It was originally 4 teams, and it was a home. Well, Damian Lillard was at home. Weber State was at home with the great McCoy. One Big Sky player that lost, didn't go to the tournament. Lillard lost twice here and at Montana, didn't go to the tournament. It's about how you play in March. Not so you're going to lay down, you're going to start pouting, you're going to be all butthurt, you're going to fucking cry. Oh, we were all that. Say, fuck, sweet are the uses of adversity. Well, we're going to see what the fuck you're made out of. I mean, this is what sport's all about, especially basketball, the dynamics. Why do you think autistic young men and women, the really super high IQ, they go crazy over basketball? Because it's it's not chess. It's not baseball. You can't manage it with a fucking computer. It's on the fly. It's dynamic. It's the most dynamic sport in the world. By the way, indigenous people played fucking basketball for thousands of years. It's the most dynamic thing in the world. It's on the fly as it happens. I remember those games in 99. I was there up in Seattle, in Alabama. Reuben missed the front end 1-1. Allen Iverson shot an air ball. The greatest shot Allen Iverson ever shot in college was an air ball. It was one of the worst shots in history. It was a fluke. Put it back and beat him. But 99, you had a point guard who was so good, so dynamic, Eddie Gill, he recognized the hot hand. And he knew how to get it to. You think he wasn't double, triple teamed? The show? Oh, watch the fucking video of those games. He was just in the zone. That's when you got a player in the zone. Feed him like Kohler was. Feed him. Give in the ball. 3 had a tough one. He's going to be all that. He's fine. This team's fine. Calm your fucking asses down. It's January basketball. Yeah, they haven't met expectations. It's been the greatest disappointment in Weber State basketball history so far. No doubt. Just like the football team. The football team is a great top 10 team. By the way, I said Abraham Williams is in Idaho. You can't make the big stage they'll find you. I don't care where you play. You got to play. Guess where Bronson Barron's back? That experiment he went to Washington where, they didn't play him. Southern Utah. They play Utah. Sorry, he's all that, So you've got to be on the field. You've got to be on the field. And, when you're on the stage, you got to get on the stage. You got to go to the big dance to dance. You got to get there. So everybody threw a fit about this conference tournament at this level. It's just a big money grab by oligarchs, which the serfs, which are college university presidents, college provosts, college whatever they are, that grotesquely paid. College coaches are so grotesquely overpaid, it's sickening. And most of them suck. It's like I remember when I was young, Dickamore was the coach at Weber High and at Walkwest. And it's been panned out. Probably could be the worst coach in high school, junior high. I go back to Snow College, that great football coach down there years and years and years ago. He used to walk around the campus. Say, hey, you ever played high school football? No. Well, good, good. You're built like an athlete. I got an open combine. Here's an invitation. We're giving free pizza. We're giving, free blah, blah. You come out to the combine and try out. He says, I want players who have never played junior high or high school. And he was asked why. Because coaches ruin players. They don't help them for the most part around here. They're morons, and so it's about players. It's about when you're on the court and those players. That's what this game's about. And big-time players are going to step up in big-time situations. Now, we got a big-time player, Dylan Jones, and he is all that. He's consistent. He's something else. He had his game last night. He's always going to have his game. Now, he's a point guard, but they've struggled, certain players, whatever. So fucking what? Let's see what you're making. Sweet are the uses of adversity. Let's see how you fucking act now. This is what's going to build you. What was a famous philosopher said? More comes from fucking losing. It's like Kevin Lynch in 2011. I've been here the whole time. When a good doctor looks you right in the fucking face with AML leukemia, the freight train hits me right here. It tells me get your affair in order. Next doctor tells me, by the way, the team doctor here is my personal doctor. Dr. Madson's my doctor. Personal. And we had a conversation the other night. I told him, I says, I forgive you. He missed it. My leukemia, that's a 1% survival. It's not about arrogance. It's about confidence. It's like football here when Rashid was here. I made sure my two grandsons spent time with Rashid and TJ for that matter. I mean, TJ was losing then, I made sure because I could see what they were. Not only were they great players and great athletes and the self-confidence just oozed from those guys. I mean, Rashid Shaheed, I always knew that he'd be a celebrity. I mean, he's one of those guys, I always told him, if you don't become an NFL superstar, you'll probably be a movie star. You put him in front of the camera, he's so charismatic, he's so dynamic, he's so charming. That's why they love him. They don't use him right. They never did. But talk about overcome adversity. You know his story? Last play, didn't even have to play. I told him I wouldn't play if I was you. Tore his ACL. He would have went to the He'd been a first round. I don't think people realize he's going to the Pro Bowl. You're talking a player he's playing for the league minimum. It's got to be the first one in history. Pro Bowl player, non-drafted, playing for the league minimum. They tied him up in the Saints. They got a third-year option on him. Finally, the one vlogger emailed me. He says he wrote a piece about Rashid. He says, I finally woke up to you, Blanche. The greatest deal in all of sport going to the 24th of order is Rashid Shaheed. Yeah, they got him tied up on, but at least the Saints gave him and nobody else did. So as far as the fans go, of course we get upset and hurt in the interim, but we step back. It's about watching these markets. I think back of those seasons that the great Jerry Harding played in. Jerry Harding was a freshman on the bench. I was in San Luis Obispo doing my tide pool work when we went over to the bar and was watching that game, me and Patrick McCormick, when they were ahead by 7 points with, 40 seconds to go against Dakota in the Big Sky Championship and somehow lost. Jerry didn't go to a tournament, but I always used to, and those teams were bad at the end of Randy Ray's era. They were horrible. I mean, they were terrible with great athletes. And I remember just watching Jerry Harding play were 10 times the price of admission. I made sure my grandson spent time with him, visiting with his mom, talking. And he would talk to him and spend the time to, because I wanted to make these grandsons of mine understand it's about self-confidence. That's what this game's about. That's what this is. And it's not about winning, but it is. But when you win, how you win. Harold Arson of the show said it perfect. Who gives a fuck? Because this tournament, they play a tournament. So, I mean, there's lots of old-timers that left, and then they opened the tournament. It used to be the home team got the home field, the home court, and it was only 4 teams. Then they changed it. This is all greed. This is welcome to Americana. It's all greed. We're going to take them all. We're going to put a neutral site. Well, if you're going to put a neutral, why don't you just put it in Vegas? Home field. Somebody bought it. It's all about money with these fucking lunatics. Coaches, ADs, fucking at the type. I mean, they just keep making more money and they become worthless. It's like academia. Kevin Lynch, the professor. I mean, look what's played out. Just like I said all those years when I taught at the #1 school of business and I went fucking rogue. The J Store's captured when it was pay to play, and now it's coming out all forgery, I mean, it's fucking greed. because people have fucking figured out somehow that the zenith of life is comfortability when it's actually the opposite. What, losing bugs you? Losing bugs you, luxury at your age? Losing shouldn't bug you. Losing should create you, to make you. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that that's why Damian Lillard is who he is. Losing those marquee games. Anthony Johnson died. I mean, I don't think Lillard would have ever been this if he would have won. Of course, he probably would. Well, he wouldn't have been drafted by the Trailblazers. He probably went number 2. So let's see what the fuck your man is. My dad was such a legendary coach. Back in those days, it was about church basketball. It was about AAU basketball. It was the big thing. High school junior was a clown circus. It still fucking is. These coaches don't know what the fuck they're doing. And at the college level, most of these colleges don't know what the fuck they've been propped up into some arrogance. It's about players. And it's about your path. And it's about fucking big-time players stepping up at big-time fucking moments. It's that, and other players recognize, step the fuck up. So what if you struggled and you've had a fucking tough go the last whoop-de-fucking do. You just need to win a bunch of games, 4 in a row in Boise. That's all. That's all. Look, the Big Sky's getting one fucking team in, period. And hey, you went to the conference championship last year, okay? I mean, it's a fucking joke, but that's what it's turned out to be. This fucking regular season doesn't mean jack shit. It does for you as developing as a person. That's why I think that players do so well in Europe from here. Because this is a fucking boot camp. Big Sky basketball, this was a hockey game last night. And these referees lose control early. Those referees last night in there, 2 of the 3 were pitiful. Really pitiful. I'll play back the fucking tape. And so you're going to get pissed because fans get on fucking refs? Good. Fans should get on the fucking refs. It's called accountability. Fans should get on coaches. It's called accountability. That's what this sport is dynamic. It's about the fans. It's about the players, not fucking coaches and ADs. No, that's what this game is about. It's a fucking stew. It's a soup. It's a broth. It's the most dynamic sport in the fucking world. It's not a fucking analytical fucking chess game like baseball, which we've seen how well that's worked out for them fucking dirtbag Dodgers. It's about fucking a player who's hot feeding. Let the fucking big dog shine. It's like I go back to the Jazz all the time. When the great Phil Johnson, probably could be the greatest team ever played here, the Sweet 16 team in 1968-69. They went to the Sweet 16. They lost that heartbreaker to go to the Final 8. Dave Sockowitz missed that front end. I'm friends with Dave. I sat with Dave 30 years later up there. That's him holding the flag in that famous fucking photograph. I'm sitting with Alex Jensen's dad, I mean, they should have fucking went to the 8. It was a missed free throw. People forget that Florida game went to overtime. Bill Jackson missed it. He had 3 at the buzzer to win the game. He made 2 of 3. It was an OT game. They should have. And Harold Larson, no show, went crazy in that fucking game. I think he had 32. And so, step the fuck up. You're going to get butthurt because you fucking lost, And the fucking fans are the fans. I mean, it's sport. Go back to the Jazz with the great Stockton and Malone. You know who the assistant coach was always sitting on that bench? Phil Johnson. Jerry Sloan was the most predictable anal fucking coach in history with those 2 incredible players. But he did have figured out Stockton and Malone were the nucleus of this thing and you build around. But on the fly, he couldn't make a decision. Remember, Chris Morris was just tearing up freaking Michael Jordan. Chris Morris was something else. Remember how great he played in that playoff run? And Michael Jordan freaking hated playing against because he was so long. Couldn't get over him. He had him on the bench. He's Michael Jordan. I've always said if Phil would have been coaching Jerry Sloan was the most arrogant ass, maybe. Have you ever been around him? Anybody who was ever around, he couldn't say. He'd go to Green Street and pass out. No one could even go around. He was just a prick. Just an arrogant dick. If Phil would have coached those teams, they'd have at least 4. There's no doubt in my mind. Phil was dynamic. Bagelin was dynamic. They were smart enough to recognize on the fly during the fucking game. They didn't fucking go with some fucking analytical bullshit. And these coaches, don't give up. This is not about coaches. This is about players. And so what if you had a bad run? Whoop-de-fucking-do. Welcome to the real world. I'm in the bone marrow, I'm in the bone marrow transplant center in fucking 2011, clinging 2012, clinging to fucking life. I watched the great fucking,
Damian Lillard's bracket buster game here. I think it was his greatest game with My Nurse Could Hardly Walk. That with Eddie Tillman. But they got beat in that championship game. Shit happens. But win in March. Let's see what you're fucking made of now. I mean, come on, man. You know, Dylan Jones made in the USA. Oh, he's all that. Do not kid yourself. So is 3. So is 2. So is Kohler. You got fucking marquee players on this fucking team. You know, shit's fucking, they've had a lot of bad luck. A lot of fucking shit's gone wrong. It's like 3 at the rim yesterday. Fuck, those shots always go down. He drive to the rim and rim out. Rim out. It's like a lot of luck comes into fucking basketball, right? But when you get down that big. But shake this shit out. Sweet are the uses of adversity. Let's see what you are. This fucking season ain't even close to being over. This season's going to come down to fucking up in Boise in that tournament. And we'll see what you are then. We'll see if you could fucking be David. You know, you had a target on you. Of course you did. You had so much publicity. Rightfully so, you had all that publicity. We know you can beat big-time teams. You've done it on the road. You beat St. Mary's. You beat a great Wyoming fucking team. Wyoming beat Nevada. You do know that. You know, that's an ex-assistant here. On the road, they won those games. They beat Oral Robertson. We know what this team's capable of. So you're going to, you know, Big Sky basketball's a fucking, it's not, I don't even call it a football game anymore. It's fucking hockey. Overcoaching, physical, and referees lose fucking control of these games early. And it's been going on for years. It's fucking ugly basketball. You've got to learn to play through physicality. You've got to learn to play through bad fucking calls. And you got to knock down big shots at big moments. You got to step up. It's that fucking simple. That's what this game is. In college basketball in this day and age, fuck. There's 340 million people in this country. Not like in the old days, you know. There's a lot to pick from. There's a lot of great basketball players out there. A lot of great basketball players. These teams are all fucking good. I talked to the big center for my talk about arrogant, dude. I was visiting with him, you know, talking to him. He had the big game, you know, he's standing right there by me, and I'm like, you got to tell that coach you're just quit double teaming me. I says, well, you know they went small ball. And that's another thing. 2, hello, coaches. Hello. Do I got to explain this to you? Every single game, coming out of the half, they go right at 2, and he gets a foul, his second or third foul within the first minute of the second half, like clockwork. Can't you see that? Do something different. You know, put in the Swiss Kid for a few minutes to start the second half. Put in Tumba for a fucking, you know. I mean, play all 3 of these guys. What's this fucking thing? We got a system? Fuck your system. You know? Let these players do their fucking thing. Fucking, like I used to tell Ray, what the fuck? Cut Lillard loose. Cut fucking, this is a true story for you players. You can look it up. It's online. Jerry Carding was a giant fan of. First time I said, I'm like, this guy is unbelievable. Everybody told him too short, too short. Even Joe Bass told him he was too short. Joey says, yeah, I was a real smart one on that. Let's see, he shoots 62% over there in Europe. He tears it up. He goes crazy. I think he's the best player in the history of Weber State in Europe. That's saying a lot, Scotty Bamforth. And I ran into him in the Weber State Library one day, and I'm like, hey, this is before the Montana game. I says, come here, Jarek. You're the greatest player in the history of this school. I've never seen anything like you while you're on the floor. You know, I'm talking here at Weber. You know, Lillard, all that. Ruben Nemhart, all that. Harold Larson on the show, the greatest single game performance in the history of Weber State basketball. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, Big Pen, Soul Jenner, Dylan Jones. I'm like, listen to me. Fuck Randy Ray's bullshit. You've got to fucking show the scouts and whatever who you are in this game against Montana. Was excellent that year, and Weber sucked that year. He put up 25 in the first half. He set the fucking all-time record in this fucking building. He was unstoppable, and he just did it. You know, and Randy was probably fucking having a stroke, slugging rat's fucking stroke. You know, he wouldn't cut Lillard loose. Lillard could have scored 40 or 50 a game any fucking time. By the way, Dylan Jones' numbers mirror Lillard's. And Dylan Jones, do I feel as good as Lillard? Yes. And the thing is, I want people to understand the NFL, the NBA, they're not sport leagues anymore. That stopped when Jordan, I was out there. There he is. I just talking about you. All good. There's Blaze. Right there, out running in the morning. street. Sedell said, he's all that. That move to the rim, that move he has, he just had bad luck last night. He'll play in the NBA. I'm fucking here to tell you. He's that good. You know, so what if you fucking lost in January? I don't give a fuck you lost in January. I'm smart enough and been around long enough. Let's see what you do in March. It's not if you win or you lose. It's how you play the fucking game. You guys are going to be fine. You know, all you players are going to be fine. You're going to be incredible, dynamic people in society. That's what this fucking game's about. Look at Jarek. Look at Bamford. Look at all these guys that never got to play, you know. I mean, look at them shine. Look at their healthy, happy fucking lives. You know, win in fucking March. Prove these fuckers wrong. You know, and this goes for all college athletes around the fucking country. That's interesting. I see him. He's one of my favorites ever who played here. You know, I remember he came to me one day right there. I was on the bus going to the hospital getting my blood work, and I see him on the bus, and he says, "Hey, you're Kevin Blanche, right? You know, you coming to practice?" I says, "I ain't going to practice. I haven't been invited. I'm not crashing that part. I used to go to Randy's practice once in a while. Of course, I was at Bageland's all the time. No, we're playing a game with actual referees. Whatever. There's some guys that come in here to practice." He says, "I just invited you." Okay, I'll come. So I went, and I made sure I went and asked Eric. I says, "I don't want to crash in here. You don't want me in here." "No, come." And one of their little clown boys, fucking managers, what, I don't know who the fucker is, come up and got in my face about it. "You can't be in." I says, "Who the fuck said I can't be in here? Who the fuck are you?" It's a public fucking entity, number one. The state taxpayer funds all this. Number two, Eric gave me permission. Who? I said, "You're fucking head coach, your boss. You coaches, hang in there. You know, everybody's going to be, they're so on you." Well, you think, I wonder why. But don't you dare give up. This is going to come down to that tournament. Who gives a fuck how you play in January? It's not if you win or lose, it's how you play the game. And you guys, your economic well-being, your future psychological well-being as young men, fucking as old men for that matter. When I was in the bone marrow time, you don't think if I did, doctor looked at me and he says, the chance of surviving are less than 1%. You don't think if I had self-confidence to overcome this? I was uninsured, forked over all my money, broke, couldn't even have food to eat. Look what I've accomplished since I had cancer. You know, published the research library. Last year I was in a fucking ICU right there, listening to these games on Clowkey on the radio. Clowkey at least gave me a call with my chest split open. The team doctor's my doctor. He blew it. He missed it. I can tell him that valve's fucking going. They replaced my aortic valve fucking. My uncle's office is right there. Thomas Blanche is my uncle, the fucking famous heart surgeon. He told me, "Kick the can, Kevin. Kick the can on that murmur. You just shut the fuck up and get to work." You know, he wouldn't say fuck, but okay, whatever. You know, and then I get cancer. They couldn't operate on me. My platelets were down. How I'm alive? Go fucking talk to my daughter. She says, "You're the biggest miracle in my career, Vincent, right here, Hanson." You don't think it was self-confidence. Now, who gave me that self-confidence? My dad. And it wasn't no high school or junior high, because Lamar Hershey cut me. You know, and he looks back. I remember he apologized to me. And then I found out, because I was a great track guy, he moved me. I ran the Nathan Barker, yet I wasn't running the fucking, I mean, unbelievable what these coaches do through. Then I found out this fucking tweaker who's in prison now, Lamar was married to his sister, and he put him in front of me. I mean, this is the kind of shit you're up against junior. Fuck junior high and high school fucking sports. It's a clown. I won championships with local kids. I'll tell you this story. This is a year older than my players. You know, they're ninth graders. This is 14-year-old team versus a 15-year-old team, and we were undefeated. And this guy came to me. He watched us win the county championship with my little group. He says, "I like the way you coach. Can you come scrimmage with us? You know, I got Roy High secured Saturday morning." "Yeah, we'll come play you." But I told him, don't be thinking this is going to be a scrimmage. You're just going to run over these kids. These kids don't like to lose. It's a group of kids. And he says, "Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the way you coach." What I used to do, when it got tight, I would spread the court. All the way spread the court. I mean, all the way. But I had players who could knock down threes. Look, junior high kids can knock down. It's not a very long shot. It's not like when fucking Darrell Griffith knocked him down from downtown. The three-point fucking line is too big. So I used to take a piece of tape, and I put it 2 feet behind the fucking arc, or 18 inches, depending. And I would tape it onto the gym floor at the old Walker's gym when we practice. And I made my players learn to shoot from that spot because these defenses are conditioned to guard you at the arc. I'm like, just step back a foot and a half. It's not that more of a shot. You just knock it down. Logo Lillard doesn't even know, Stephon Curry, coaches that let him do it. Well, Randy Ray did do it. He could have done it anytime he wanted. And I'm like, just knock him down. Just knock him down. So we'd knock him down. They'd spread the fucking court, and then I'd let my point guard go to work, and they'd try to slip on it. They'd just kick it. But then I would switch. I had a big guy who could handle the ball, like Dylan. I mean, remind me of Dylan Jones. He could dribble. He could handle the ball. I would switch him to point guard like they do here. But I would spread the court, and he would just fucking go to work on it. He would go to the rim and just score at will. They couldn't fucking stop him. This guy was so pissed at his play. And this was a Final Four AAU team that year. And we were a year younger with local kids who all got cut off Walquist and Weber High's fucking teams. Every one of them got cut by dumbass fucking moron coaches. We beat them by 20. Hello. When you got a hot player, it's like the great Ronna Baglin was with Harold Arsenault the show. And he had a great, great point guard who could see it. Fuck, you don't think North Carolina was double and triple teaming him? By the way, that Florida team, I think 2 or 3 of those guys played in the NCAA. Miller played on that team. Haslam, who just retired, was fucking played for 20-some years on that team. I mean, they you couldn't fucking stop him. He was in the zone like Anthony Johnson was that night. You get in the fucking zone in this game, you're in the fucking zone. Step up. So what if you lost right here? Because sweeter you play in a conference and it doesn't fucking matter what happens. I don't even know why we have a regular season. Because only one team's going, you got to win that bullshit fucking tournament, because agreed. And you go. Northern was the 8th seed last year and fucking played in the championship. They beat the 1 seed. They lost in the championship. And by the way, I'm a big fan of ex-players. You know who should coach here? Jimmy DeGraffi. I voted for Jimmy DeGraffi. He's coached before high school. He's state champion. He was in my class in the number 1 school business in the 90s. He's a genius. And he knows how to win. Or, for that matter, Eddie Gill. That's who I want. But these coaches, well, they're out of the Randy Ray tree, but so what? Let them finish this fucking job. I'm friends with Danny, who coaches at Utah State now, Montana. Danny and I watched that 2003 game, who went undefeated here. Pat Danley's in here with me. He lives here. I love that guy. People forget about Jeremy Boyette. Jeremy Boyette signed after they beat North Carolina in 99. He could have played anywhere in the country. Did you know they went undefeated in the conference? Undefeated. Who can do that? 68, 69 did it. They did it in 2000, 2000. That's what I told Dantley. They're talking Arsenal. Everybody was kind of like, I said, let me tell you, Pat, next time anybody says any shit, you look them right in the face and say, name a team that went undefeated in this fucking palace in the Big Sky. Only one's done it in this Big Sky. You and Boyette. Yeah, you got beat in the tournament by that Penny kid got fucking hot. I was with Danny. We were in Wendover watching that fucking game. So was Stu Morrill there. With me. I believe Randy Ray was with us too. A bunch of us used to go and watch the games. And, Danny was a player. It was very controversial when they hired Danny at Montana State. He was just an ex-player. He was a pretty good player, blah, blah, blah. How many times win the Big Sky Championship? You see what he's doing at Utah State? And people say he doesn't have any experience. Winners are winners. So, I sure like to have a local Weber State guy coach. Jimmy DeGraff. It's like football. Jay Hill. Abraham Williams, world class. Why do you think he went to Idaho? Because he's going to play. And he's world class. Bronson Barron, he bolded. He was smart enough to see the writing on the wall. He knew his mental thing wasn't working out. He's going to play at Southern Utah this year. They play at Utah. I can't wait. So I'm going to be rooting for Southern Utah because he's one of my favorites. He's local. So don't give up, you players. Let's see what the fuck you're made of. Let's see what you are now. This was always a David versus Goliath story. You've never been Goliath. So come on down. off your fucking high horse. Well, that's already happened. Let's see how you react. It's like when I had that open heart surgery, replaced my fucking valve. They had to reconstruct it, harvest an artery out of my leg. I have a pacemaker. You know, they missed it. No one should live through that. 2 heart attacks. I didn't go to a fucking hospital because I didn't want to ruin my grandkids' Christmas. You know, thank God I made sure that my 2 incredible grandsons spent so much time with Rashid and TJ, for that matter, and Jerry Carding. And not just we'd walk down there and they would both take the time and visit with them, talk to them, mentor them. You think those kids ever forgot it? Because it's about self-confidence. And Dylan Jones is all that. Blaze 3 is all that. 2 is all that. Dyson Kohler is all that. All these guys are. You know, even, Cunningham had a bad game. So what? So what? Bounce the fuck back. The young Finn, so what? So what? Bounce the fucking back, all of you. Somebody's going to step up. We'll see what you're made of. Don't you fucking give up. It's not if you win or lose. It's literally how you play the game. And I'm not into the sports merchandising, which the NBA has turned into. That's all the NBA is. That's all the NFL is. That's why I like European basketball. It's not that over there. It's big time. It's a real sport. Why do you think these players excel over there? You know, your economic status, your well-being, your future. It's going to come down to how you respond from this. You know, biggest disappointment so far, I said. So far. I ain't giving up on you. I don't fucking give up. If you don't know my path, or Rashid Shaheed's for that fucking matter, we don't give up. Rashid Shaheed's story should inspire everybody here. So should TJ. I mean, that story blows my fucking mind, actually. You know, he's playing for the league minimum. Tore ACL, never got invited to the combine. Well, he couldn't go to the combine. Made the practice squad by the skin of his fucking teeth in the fucking Pro Bowl. What a story. Let's see who you are. We're going to see who you are. It ain't how you play in January. It's how you play in March. We'll see. We'll see how you respond. Hang in there, man. Don't you fucking coaches, don't you players give up on me. Don't you fucking give up on me. Don't you give up on we. It's we, not me. It's Weber State. Don't you give up. We're not giving up. Let's see what you're made of. Stand tuned.